Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Exploring the Arts Around Us. I'm Monica Merrell, one of your neighbors here in Peters, and a lover of art in its many forms. This series that I do is a way to showcase and promote some of the people and organizations in our area that create and celebrate art in its various forms. In these programs, I try to share insights about different genres of art, different art groups that are available to you, places you might go to learn about art, and perhaps you'll be inspired to investigate the possibilities. My guests today are from the McMurray Art League. You may remember hearing about the McMurray Art League in a prior program, and if you frequent the Peters Township Library, you've surely seen the beautiful display of original artwork by the League members that's mounted there. Variety of genres, watercolor, ceramic, etc. They're a well-established group of local artists who create masterpieces using a wide variety of mediums. Well, today we're going to update you about an exciting event they're going to hold in August. My guests today are Jan Pini and Betty Roseborough. Welcome, ladies. Thanks for joining me. So we're here to share news about a really wonderful opportunity for people to experience art and enjoy nature at the same time. So Betty, I hear you're the mastermind behind this program. So why don't you tell us what it's called and tell us how it got started?
Well, this is a 3-day plein air event that is painting outside for the artists instead of in a studio inside a house.
Okay, and it's called?
The Art at the Farm.
Art at the Farm, okay.
Art at the Farm, and it's at Gilfillan Farm, which is a registered National Historic Site and a treasure in our local area.
Okay, now tell me this. You made the comment plein air. Explain a little bit to people what that means.
It just means...
Those of us who aren't French inclined.
It's just a fancy way to say I'm painting outside in nature.
In the open air.
In the open air, plein
Okay.
air.
So you're going to be at Gilfillan Farm.
For 3 days.
And Gilfillan's out there on Washington Road.
130 Orr Road is the actual address and entrance. You cannot get to the farm from Route 19.
Okay.
It's very
That's
near.
important to know.
Yes, it's very near South Hills Village, and it's a neighbor to the Westminster Presbyterian Church.
Okay, now tell me this. So you're doing this on the Gilfillan Farm.
Correct.
Which is located in Upper St. Clair.
Correct.
And I understand you have a partner with this event.
Yes, it's the Historical Society of Upper St. Clair that operates the farm, is responsible for everything, including paying the bills. So this event, yes, it's insurance, etc., outhouses. You cannot use the facilities.
Goodness,
clearly,
no. It's historic.
It's historic, yes, and so. This is a fundraiser, basically, for both groups.
Okay.
And it all started because last year I had Barry Jeter, a local popular artist and excellent teacher, do a class for me outside at the farm.
Okay.
And we were a nervous wreck. Would it go? Would it rain? Etc. And it turned out it was very successful. People loved it. And this year I thought, should I try that again? And I talked to Rachel, who is in charge, president of the society.
Rachel Carlson.
Rachel Carlson. And she said, can we make it a more inclusive event? And so on. It mushroomed. Believe me, it's mushroomed.
Now, are you a member of St. Clair's Historical Society?
No.
Okay, but it was just an opportunity to choose Gilfillan because it was close?
It's so interesting, and it's rare to be allowed on the property.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. It's not open very often, and I'm an Upper St. Clair resident.
Okay.
And I knew about it, and I had been there and said, could we do this? And Barry Jeter, the teacher, is very familiar with that place and wanted to be there too.
Oh, I see. So
motivated,
very motivated.
Very motivated to have a class there. And as I said, it was very successful. So this year we're doing quite a bit more.
Okay, before we go too far, I thought it would be appropriate to give a little history about Gilfillan. Gilfillan actually started with the Gilfillan family back in the late 1780s when they came to Upper St. Clair area and purchased property, got a land grant, in theory is what it actually was. And over the next decades, family grew, they split the property, they acquired more, so they expanded, and they weren't all connected at the same time, but they owned a significant amount of property in the area. And then around 1849, the Gilfillan Farms was established. This is according to the history on the website. So then subsequently, again, family members, you add to the family, you subdivide, give a piece here, give a piece there. They continued to farm a certain segment of the property, and it was about 75 acres being farmed. And then, from what I read, in 1979, the last 75 acres were subdivided. They gave 60 acres, they sold 60 acres to Upper St. Clair, which is how they created a community park area and everything there. And the last 15 remained in the ownership of the Gilfillans. Margaret Gilfillan was the last person. And at that point, it was recognized on the National Historic Register as a historic place. And then she remained the owner until 2001. When she passed away, she left the bequest of land to Upper St. Clair. And that is how the Gilfillan Farm became property again of Upper St. Clair. But again, that section's the historic register section.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want, I think we're going to show the Upper St. Clair website so that people can go online and take a look there if they'd like to. So their primary purpose is to protect the area and use it for education and betterment of the Upper St. Clair community.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings us to your event again. So your event is going to be for the betterment of not only Upper St. Clair, but anybody else who wants to come out and enjoy art in the open air.
This rare opportunity to be on this wonderful property. There are barns, multiple barns. The original house, huge red brick house, it's beautiful. The lanes, it's the fields, yes, and they're building to historic requirements a chicken coop to bring the live chickens back, but it has to meet, they want it to be just right according to what it should have been like.
Are there any animals still on the farm?
Right now, I'm not sure what organization, but there are goats, sheep, and there probably will be goats by the time we have our activity.
So there will be a little bit of wildlife,
Yes,
but also
yes,
people, livestock,
yes.
not
But
wildlife.
unfortunately,
livestock.
the chicken coop isn't ready yet. But
Well, I think at one point in time, Horses for Hope was in that area, but
absolutely,
I'm not sure if they
last
were on.
year was the last year they were active.
Right, and they moved now, from what I understand, to a
Yes.
location in Peters Township.
Yes.
So tell me, Jan, let's talk to you a bit. What dates are we talking about for the event?
Well, there are multiple events going on. Barry's class is Thursday, July
31st.
31st, thank
Okay,
you.
sorry.
And Friday, August 1st. And we have another artist teaching on Saturday who's very widely known and a good instructor, David Sant, C-S-O-N-T.
Okay.
And he's teaching a one-day class. And you can work he's going to teach watercolor, and Barry is going to teach watercolor, but you can really work in any medium you want. He also works in oil and can instruct about that.
I think for both of them that's the case.
That's also for David, okay. Mm-hmm. And then Saturday, and then we offer the opportunity for any artists who want to come and paint plein air for those 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, while the classes are going on.
Okay, so you have two opportunities. So you have an opportunity for somebody who might want to have actual lessons.
Structured, yeah.
Instruction from either Barry Jeter or
David Sant
to sign up to do that. And then you have the opportunity, if people feel they just want to
come and paint,
come as they want and paint, they can bring their own easels. Now they have to bring everything, I presume.
Yeah,
Yes.
They have to bring all their supplies, and they'll have access to the property for 3 days.
And clean up afterward, of course.
Of
Yes.
course. So we have a graphic up that talks a little bit about that. Now, if I don't want to do either of that, but I want to stroll around the grounds, general admission
No, there is no admission to the public. If you want to come for those 3 days and watch the artists, you are welcome to do that. It is
free.
open to the public to watch what's happening, enjoy the fresh air, observe the artists, and so on. Yes, that's one of the big, we built that right in so that we could manage that and let the public see what's happening and enjoy the farm.
So if I'm not going to be painting or taking a lesson, what else is going to be going on there for those 3 days?
During those 3 days?
Yes.
Nothing really, except it is open to the community to come in and observe for free, and they can just see what artists do.
Well, what's the charges for? There was something on your website, and people should go to the website to look at this. But there's a $5 general.
That's for the gala.
That was the
Oh.
fourth final wrap-up of the whole event on Saturday night, August 2nd. We're having a Gilfillan Gala. We're having live music. We're having food trucks. We're having a raffle. We're having art activities that the public can enjoy and participate in, fun art activities,
Okay.
which I can explain if you want. And just the opportunity to just spend the evening in this wonderful site.
With live music,
Like
which is,
I
so we'll
yeah.
have entertainment.
Yeah.
But my understanding, so you've mentioned,
Oh, also there will be a wet paint sale, we call it.
okay, hang on a minute. Just to back up. You mentioned that there were going to be food trucks there. Are those there all 3 days?
Just for the gala on
Okay.
Saturday night.
Okay.
And there is a charge to get into that. It's
Okay.
like $5 in advance.
So there's going to be a charge for the art classes.
Yes.
Yes.
And depending on who you go or how many days you go, there'll be a charge for the art classes.
Right.
Yes.
If you want to come in and just paint
Plein air.
plein air, and you want to bring your own things and just do your own thing, so to speak, set up where you want, well, within reason, there's a fee for that.
We
Correct.
call that a donation.
Okay.
These are all donations.
These are all donations. There's a recommended donation,
Yes.
okay? And if you're going to do that, you need to register.
Yes.
Correct.
Now, you talked about a wet paint sale. You started mentioning that.
Well, that's going to be during the gala only.
But where does the wet paint come in? Tell me all about what that means.
Well, the pieces of art that the artists have finished, if they can get them framed and hanging on the wall in the barn, we're allowed to use a barn, the only building we're allowed to have entrance to. So we'll make arrangements to have it beautifully decorated with this art, which is the wet paint sale. And they can just enjoy it, and if they feel there's something that interests them immensely and they like the price, they can buy it.
Okay, so let me just clarify. The implication of wet paint is that these are things that were painted during the.
Right.
Did they have? So it could be things that were painted during the 3 days.
Yes, and we've agreed to let people, like the class we had last year with Barry, if they have something they'd like to enter from that, fine.
Oh, but it's something.
But it
that's-
has to be from Gilfillan.
Okay, that's what I was going to say.
The
So
focus.
the subject matter has to be around Gilfillan.
Yes.
And,
Done in plein air.
Okay.
Done in
And
plein air.
there have been a number of opportunities to do that. In fact, the painting I sent to you, I did from a Barry's class many years ago.
We're going to see some of those towards the end.
I
Good.
know.
Yeah.
You probably want to know, what does wet paint sale mean?
Yes,
That-
that's what I was trying to get to.
Right. That is that moniker is because people paint with oil paint, and then they turn around and have the sale after painting for 2 days. Well, that paint's not dry.
It will be, yes.
So
And that's something people may not realize.
Right.
Obviously, watercolor will dry faster
Right.
than oil. Oil paint takes a significantly longer time
Right.
to dry. So anybody who does put a piece in, the buyer beware in the respect they have to be very cautious about carrying
Yes.
it.
Right.
But you're implying that these will be for sale, wet
Yes.
paint sale.
Yes,
So then the painter gets to identify what they want to charge for that.
yes.
yes.
And
The
if they
buyer takes it with them that
takes
night.
it with them. So then the sale,
Wet or not.
wet or not. But there's also a fee if you want to enter that.
Yes.
Enter what?
For
An
the
entry
artist,
fee.
yes, for the artist.
And we take a commission, which is
Okay.
typical.
Well, and that's where we talked about this being a fundraiser.
Yes.
And it's going to be a fundraiser for both the Historical Society of Upper St. Clair as well as McMurray Art League.
Correct.
Correct.
So between the proceeds from the fees for the donation for the classes and the wet paint and then any sales,
And the plein air
And the-
3-day ability to paint on the property.
right, those are all going to be funds that benefit the two organizations.
Correct.
Now, the gala is Saturday night, and it's $5 a person if you register ahead of time. And we had to do that because, of course, the food trucks want to know how many people to prepare for.
Well, yes, space is always
So
an issue
we
in
thought
food.
if we do an initial minuscule charge to get them registered ahead of time, and if you pay with a credit card online, you can easily do that, but there will be a fee for that.
Yeah, there
However,
always
if you
is.
send a check in early enough, no fee, just $5 a person, and you can register for a party all at once. Like, go in online, say I'm coming, I'm bringing 4 guests, and so on, and that would be $5 a person. If you come to the gate and you haven't registered, we certainly will let you in, but it will be $10 at
Per
the
person.
gate per
Is there-
person.
but is that actually true? Because the bottom line is, I would imagine there's a certain amount of limited space. I mean, if you
The farm
plan,
is large.
okay,
If I'm hoping to have hundreds of people come,
okay,
I mean, I don't want 50, I want hundreds. So there's plenty of room. When she had the beer bash there, they have a fundraiser beer bash every year. It's very successful. 700 tickets sold out early.
I've read that. I read that online on their website.
It is
yes.
true. I was there at this recent one. It did not rain, hallelujah, and it was quite fun. And the whole point was beer, which I don't drink, so I found something. But anyhow, it was just a fun night, and that farm managed that beautifully. So there's plenty of room.
Well, you know, I haven't personally been on the Gilfillan farm. Embarrassed to say. It just has never been something that I've thought about. I've seen the animals there from time to time when they used to have actually cows there for a while.
They did.
And now you're saying there'll be sheep and goats.
There are sheep there for sure now,
Okay.
but there will probably be goats added over the summer.
Okay.
And as I said, eventually they're going to bring chickens, but that's the last plan I heard. There may be more, I don't know.
Okay. So it's going to be open where people can basically come in, observe the artists as they're sitting around. And there's going to be, I guess, people will be allowed to kind of pick their spot.
Yes.
When you do plein air, you have obviously some buildings, you have the trees, the vegetation,
The
you might have
lane,
the animals.
fields,
Okay.
it's many possibilities of painting.
And like Barry says, you can do plein air by painting a doorknob because it's an interesting antique doorknob.
Right.
You know, it doesn't have to be some big vista.
Well, and I think that would be one of the things that would be hard when you're, for me personally, I think there's so much out there to look at. You have to begin to figure out how to hone in on just what you
Yeah.
want to feature in your subject matter.
And the way you do that is you bring cropping tools. I mean, there are a lot of viewfinders that are made for artists that are just a certain size that you just hold up and
You do your
kind of
little-
figure
there
out
you
what
go.
part you want to concentrate on. When I've done plein air, sometimes I've used my phone and taken a picture of a site that I want to work on, and that helps me isolate just this part and not everything around.
Got it. Got it. Well, and that's the thing that I think is interesting, that it does really help people look so closely at something. You know, you have to learn how to look very closely at that. I think the other thing about plein air is this is rain or shine.
Yes.
Am I presuming?
Yeah, it is.
So we're going to cross our fingers and
Yes.
hope that all the rain that we're getting now
It's
is what
gonna
we
be
get.
done.
enough,
Yeah.
yes.
So that's again July 31st, the 1st and the 2nd, and rain or shine. And speaking of that, even if it is shine, they do recommend things like you have to bring your own materials,
Oh, yes.
you have to bring your own supplies, you should probably bring an umbrella, not for just rain but for sun.
Yes.
and then dress accordingly
Right.
for that.
We've been warned that the property has a lot of ticks on it.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, we actually have, when you register for the plein air event or the classes, there's a list of recommendations
Perfect.
That Barry put together, and it includes things like tick spray and, you know, things like that, or bug spray to try to
Well, and that's
protect
not
yourself.
unexpected.
No,
if
no.
you decided to go to a park, to Mingo
the
or
same
Raccoon or
issue.
Peterswood, anywhere.
There are ticks in your backyard.
I know there. I know
so
there are.
you have to be aware nature has its benefits and its risks.
Well, that's profound. Why don't we?
I strongly recommend long pants
Yes.
and socks and
Oh, yes.
not sandals, full shoes. I just would be more comfortable if people were aware of that. Dress appropriately.
Well, that's a very good recommendation. Why don't we take a few minutes here? We're going to take a short break. We'll go ahead and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about the details of what's going to be going on at the Gilfillan Art at the Farm event. Be back in a minute. Hello everyone, welcome back. We're here today with McMurray Art League. We have Jan Pini and we have Roseborough. Betty Roseborough. Please excuse me. Here to talk about the Art at the Farm, which is a joint event being held by McMurray Art League and the Historical Society of Upper St. Clair at Gilfillan Farms in Upper St. Clair. So we talked a little bit earlier about the different events. We're going to have July 31st, the 1st and the 2nd of August. We're going to have our classes by Barry Jeter for Thursday and Friday. And there is a fee for those. Mm-hmm. He's going to teach both watercolor and watercolor and oil painting. And the 2-day classes are $120. On Saturday, David Sant is going to do a 1-day class that's $60. And then on watercolor. And if you don't want to do the classes, if you want to just work on your own, you'll have an opportunity to bring your own art equipment and do plein air, which is open air out on Gilfillan Farm. For all 3 days, the fee for that is $40. Donation. And these are all things you have to register for in advance. And you can go to the McMurray Art League website to do that.
McMurrayArtLeague.com.
And in addition to that, on Saturday in the evening, you're going to have a gala, and there's a small donation for that, $5 in advance, $10 at the gate.
per person.
Per person. So again, you can go to McMurray Art League, you can get the information, you can register online. We recommend that you do that as soon as you can because it'll be helpful to both help them know how many people are coming, but also make sure you get your place situated, particularly for the classes. So, in addition to
space is limited.
Space is limited.
We cannot have 30 people in a class. The teacher would not be able to accommodate everybody fairly.
Right.
So space is limited for the classes and for the plein air painters.
Okay.
We cannot have 100 painters on the farm at the same time.
Right.
So we looked at the situation, picked a particular number and set the limit. So registration early is recommended.
Very good. Very good.
And also, don't forget, the public is invited to observe the painters all 3 days.
So if a public wants to wander onto the farm, they can stand around, observe the painting, enjoy the nature, because they'll, obviously they'll be out on Gilfillan, which is a beautiful location. And that is, they can just come on, no fee involved, unless they want to make a donation.
They may make a donation, and it's a rare treasure this close, and it's rarely open to the public. So I recommend you if you want to just stroll around and you don't care about watching artists, come and stroll around. It's open on those days.
Okay.
You can park down by what they call the garden, where people have their own vegetable gardens or whatever on the lower level, or you can park in Westminster Church's parking lot.
Okay. And I imagine there'll be some signage those days when the time
yes.
comes.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And
That'll
if
be fine.
somebody is handicapped, we can accommodate them if we know ahead of time. So on our website, it asks that question, do you need any accommodation? Because there is a lane that restricted use, that we can help someone. Like, for example, last year we had an artist who needed help, and she was able to drive down the lane, drop her stuff off, and then another artist drove her car to the parking lot,
Good.
and then reverse at the end. But we need to know ahead of time.
Yeah.
Right.
When
Okay,
you
that
register,
makes perfect
that's
sense.
a question, when you register.
So we didn't talk very much about the gala. We talked about the wet paint sale, which will be happening at the gala.
Yes.
And the wet paint sale, as we said, is pictures painted related to Gilfillan. They might have been last year during the class, or they could be the current, this 3-day period that they're being painted. They will be posted there. Artists can submit 2 pictures that they painted, and they could put a price on and be offering them for sale if they want.
They have to register for
They
that.
have to register for that as well. And
Yes.
any of the proceeds of that
$20.
will go to McMurray Art League, a commission, and the artist. And it's $20 to put those two pictures in
Correct.
the program.
This is typical of any other art sale. You know, it's a lot of work to set up the screens and manage the sales and so on. So, and then take down everything. And here we have a special problem with lighting to make sure that the artwork is appropriately displayed.
Sure.
Because the barn is not meant for an art sale. It's a beautiful, space, and it does have overhead light, but it's anyhow. So this is all part of why we have to.
Now this is going to be, but the art will be tagged.
Oh,
It will
yes.
be- It's not an
Oh,
auction.
yes.
It's not where you bring this
No,
up and
no,
say.
no.
No.
Okay.
So
You decide you want to buy something, you come up to the desk and
So we're not worried about titles because of the shortness of it's going to be artist painting number 1, artist painting number 2.
Okay.
And then if the artist wants to write a special title on the bottom of the cards we've made up, no problem.
Okay. So in addition to the art sale going on at the gala, this is what we also wanted to explore a little bit more. So you're going to have music, and who is the band?
Bertha and the Bells.
Yeah.
Bertha and the Bells. Now please tell me what kind of music they sing.
they say, okay, Bertha and the Bells. Bertha is a bass, and the
A big
bells,
bass, yeah.
a big bass
Huge.
instrument.
Bertha isn't a person?
No, and Bertha is the bass, and the guy that plays it, there's one guy that plays that, and the bells are 3 other women, one of which is Annie Trimble,
Oh.
who is one of our good friends and
an artist.
And an artist, and she actually, Annie has a solo show going on at the McMurray Art League space.
Okay.
During
So,
June.
During June, if anybody wants to wander down and take a look at that. She's a wonderful artist and a good friend and a fantastic
And
musician.
she's a bell.
And
she's
she's
a
one
bell.
of the bells.
And her art is of many, many other musicians.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Some of
that's-
them very famous.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of her thing to do, portraits of these
Of these
musicians.
musicians.
Very nice.
And her family and so on.
Yeah,
Okay,
but so the kind of music is folk music, modern music. It's quite a variety of things. But she says it's done with wicked fingering, because there's all violins and such, fiddles, and complex harmonies.
Nice.
And I've heard them, and they're really very, very good.
That sounds wonderful.
Fun and upbeat and not rock and roll.
No,
I mean, I wanted something a little different than the standard, DJ.
yeah.
Got it. Got
Yeah,
it. Well,
yeah.
live music is always, in my opinion,
Yeah.
better than recorded if you
Yeah.
can
And
get live music.
They are doing this gratis.
Oh, that's very nice.
And so we're going to have a donation bucket there for people to throw in $20, because they usually charge for these things, but we're getting special help from them.
Very nice.
So
Yes.
it will be worth your while to donate and listen to their music.
So their ears will be entertained.
Yes.
So what
Yes.
about their stomachs? Tell us about the food and the drink.
Well, if I had known I needed to start 5 months earlier, I would have had. But luckily, through various sources, I was able to find people to come and serve food for us.
And this is going to be food trucks, and then
So there are a few food trucks,
Okay.
and some are food tents.
oh, okay,
So it's going to be a variety. We have Franken Fried, which is traditional American burgers, chicken, and fries.
okay,
We have Take and Wrap, Tack and Wrap, I'm not sure how to say it.
Tikka
It's
and wrap.
Indian street food.
oh, cool,
Yes, which is like a different choice. We've just recently signed on board the Pie Place,
oh my
which
goodness,
has sweet and savory offerings, you know, like
Yes.
pepperoni rolls and so on, not just a pie with
Right,
sweet pie,
right.
but they do have savory.
and they're right up the street in
They
St.
are
Clair.
indeed, and I had to twist their arms. And then we have Beetle's Ice Cream Truck, which
Nice.
is real ice cream,
Not
not
soft.
soft serve. It's like
Oh,
traditional.
scoopable,
Yep,
scoopable.
scoopable ice cream. And then, and all of those will have soft drinks or water, I'm sure. And then we have, for the adults, we have Recon Brewery, which is local, and we have J.D. Sellers Wine.
Recons are they in St. Clair as well?
They're Bridgeville, I think.
They're off of,
There's more than one location, but I
yeah,
think
they're in
Bridgeville
is it Hastings? The
might be.
okay.
Oh, the new place.
Yes, the new place that was just built. Okay, go ahead.
So,
Recon Brewery,
Recon Brewery
which is
for
your
sure,
beer.
which is for beer, and I have to check with them, but I'm pretty sure they might be bringing like a cider, a hard cider, or
I
something.
imagine they usually have
And
that kind of
then
thing.
we also have J.D. Sellers Wine,
okay,
and
cool.
they are known for their wine slushies.
Oh,
And so not just wine, you can have just plain wine, but also wine slushies,
Very
which
nice.
sounds like a fun summer thing.
it will be.
And yeah, that's the list I have so far for the food, for my vendors.
Okay. So, and potentially you might add more if people come up at the last minute.
It's possible, yes, indeed.
Okay. So people will have an opportunity to have food and drink and entertainment by Bertha and the Bells.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought Bertha was a woman.
Well, now you know.
Now I know.
Bertha's-
And
Now
you
I
can-
know.
They have a website, Bertha and the Bells. You
They
can check
do.
it out.
And they'll be selling their
CDs.
CDs too.
Oh, cool.
They have a CD. And Annie has written a song. When she moved to Pittsburgh, she wrote a song and recorded it. It's on the CD. It's called "You Can't Get There From Here," and it's hysterical.
And everybody who lives in Pittsburgh knows exactly,
Knows
what she
exactly what
means.
that is.
Very good. Very good.
The other thing is the art activities. You want to talk about that?
Oh, please, yes.
So we also, at the gala, we're having a 50-50 raffle, again, benefit. But we decided that since it's an interactive, we want the community to come and have some art experience
Okay.
other than looking at it. And we realized that not everybody considers themselves an artist. I can't do that. I couldn't
I do
follow
stick figures,
cranes,
blah, blah, blah,
etc.
yeah.
Stick figure. Yes, that's I hear that often. So we came up with 3 different activities that we are strongly encouraging the public to participate
Oh,
in.
that sounds fun.
So the first one is a small piece of art, canvas, but not really canvas, like watercolor paper or what have you. But we'll have a little sketch on it. And all they do is color it, whatever their
Oh,
imagination.
it's like an adult coloring book.
Like an adult coloring book only, and you color it and take it, and you can use markers or color pencils or what was the other thing?
Acrylic.
No, that's
Crayons?
Crayons, exactly.
Go back
so
to my
those
roots, the
little
crayons.
little quickie things that they can
Nice.
do with, and we'll have a variety of materials for them. They can mix and match and make it mixed media, and for their little piece. And
Well,
take,
you're jumping from beginner to mixed media. That's cool.
well, if a crayon and a marker, you've got mixed media.
There you go.
And so that's one activity. The second will be a collage, where we'll have all sorts of different things ready, papers and what have you, and they just, a canvas prepared, and they just Elmer's glue and stick it on in whatever imaginative way they think, and everybody's going to get a chance to put something on, so it's going to be interesting how it turns out.
Are you going to use some natural materials from the farm, like go around picking up leaves?
Good idea.
We will think about that.
We don't want people picking things off of the trees.
I've had an artist come to the McMurray Art League and who does this and frames them and preserves them somehow. And I may pick her brain or go back to her notes on how to do that properly. But you just can't put any leaf up and in 2 days it's gone.
Right.
Yeah, so we have to think about that. But the third thing, and the most interesting I think, is I was down at ARC in Washington County. They have an art gallery, and it's right there on Pike Street in Canonsburg. It's Bella, what's the name of the Chica Bichelli Bichelli Cafe for breakfast and lunch, and the whole first floor is an art gallery, and the McMurray Art League helped them get that moving.
Oh, I had no idea.
Oh, you have to go there for lunch and check out the art.
Well, I've been to the one in Washington, but they don't have an art
That's
gallery.
the sister.
Okay.
Exactly, and it's wonderful.
We're putting a plug in here for somebody else.
But it's an art gallery, and a lot of McMurray artists have art there.
Oh,
and so they had done this once, and it gave me the idea, and I said, oh, this is wonderful, and how can I improve on it?
okay.
So we're going to have a competition.
Oh.
We are going to have the young adults, young people. We are going to have female adults and male adults vying for the best art. And we're going to have canvases prepared by our teachers.
Okay.
20 by 30, 22 by 30.
22 by 30.
Not tiny, but fairly large. We'll have 3 of them ready to go, and
With
we'll
a
have
drawing.
acrylic paint. Like it will have a sketch on it ready.
Okay.
Be prepared, everything like a normal artist would do, getting that canvas ready and so on. And then we'll have acrylic paint there for them to add a stroke, do a section, whatever they feel they're up, but it's going to be
community.
It's a community
piece.
thing, and as I said, it's defined by female artists, male artists, adults, and young adults.
And they don't have to be artists.
And they don't have to be artists, but they will be artists because they're participating. And when it's done, around 8:30 or so, I think we decided, we are going to auction them off, and you don't have to buy a ticket. We're going to use the people that purchase tickets. We're going to put their name in a hat, and we will give these paintings
Oh, how nice.
to the public.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So, and fun too.
It sounds very much fun.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. You mentioned something, and I don't think we mentioned. What are the time frames on this? What time is it starting and ending?
The gala.
Well,
Everything.
the daily things.
Oh, okay. So the classes and the plein air, on your own work is from 10 to 4
Okay.
on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Okay.
The gala is 6 to 9 Saturday night.
Okay.
And the parking lot is normally closed. It's gated. The church parking lot is open, but the access to Gilfillan is normally gated. So we have arranged for it to be open a half an hour early, so 9:30 about, and then close about 4:30. So they can't be lingering
Okay.
at the property.
They have to have a ticket to get back in.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the same thing with the evening. The parking lot will open about 5:30 and close about 9:30 or so
On
Okay.
Saturday.
on,
yes.
on Saturday night.
When I was getting prepared for the program, I looked up the Historic Society of Upper St. Clair. And that's where I got some of the history, obviously, about that. But I also read that Margaret Gilfillan, the woman who actually donated that 15 acres, that's Gilfillan Farm, was an artist herself. And they have artwork of hers there. And obviously much of it is about Gilfillan Farm. And it's various mediums, like you were just talking about. I bet if she was alive today, she would come to this event.
Yes.
She would come to Art at the Farm.
I'm hoping Carol Gilfillan, who is alive today, lives
A
at
descendant.
She lives at Friendship Village. She's a member of the Upper St. Clair League for the Arts.
Okay.
And yes, I'm hoping she comes, but there you are. She's an artist
Very good.
and quite good, and her work sells.
At the end of the program, we're going to have a little bit of a slideshow, and I think we have some of Margaret's pieces.
Okay.
Oh,
I took
cool.
them down off of the website. So.
Okay.
So it sounds like this is going to be a wonderful event. Before we sign off, let's just circle back a little bit and talk about McMurray Art League. If you cannot come to the event, McMurray Art League offers so many opportunities for people to learn art, demonstrate art, learn something new in art if you're already a
Aficionado.
good of a certain type. If you paint and you like to learn ceramic, or if you'd like to learn
Sure. Broaden
oil
your
versus
horizons.
water. So McMurray, tell me a little bit about what all you do, Jan. What kind of classes?
Okay, McMurray Art League was incorporated in 1977, so it's been around a really long time.
I'll say so. You'll be coming up on a big anniversary.
A big anniversary. We had a 45th celebration. We'll be coming up on the 50th. A couple years, so we'll have to make a big celebration about that. We have 118 members now, local artists of all abilities and ability levels.
There's no test or requirement to get in.
There's no screening in, which they do have.
No, present your portfolio and we'll decide if we
right,
like you.
if whether you're good enough, kind of thing.
Good.
We've managed to keep our dues as pretty low, $35 a year. We depend a lot on the donations for members when they sign up for, or participants when they sign up for a class or something like that. There's always a little thing there that says, I want to donate to the Art League.
Sure.
And we've managed to raise some money with that.
We're nonprofit.
You're nonprofit. Your studio is at
4069 Washington Road.
Right. We're
in the McDowell shops,
right.
and we're around. It's an L-shaped mall, outdoor mall, and we are around the corner from Atria's.
Okay.
And we offer a bunch of classes. We offer what we call Creative Arts for Everyone, which is cafes, and they are where a member would just share a skill or a craft or something like that.
For example, origami?
I was going to say origami. We have one member who really does a lot of origami stuff, so she's done a bunch of origami classes. She's going to be doing another one. So those are going on, and we just ask for a $5 donation to keep the lights on. If there's a materials fee or whatever, that's separate.
Well, all nonprofits do have to rely on that, so that's
Yes.
not a surprise.
Not so.
But what you give to the community is so much more than
Right.
what people donate.
We have
a reading thing?
We have a studio space.
Yeah, we have the book.
Well, okay.
That's new.
We have as far as exhibits, we have the studio space, which is nobody else has a space like we have, and thanks to Mosites, who's very generously offering that to us, and because the matriarch, Bunky Mosites, was a member years ago.
I remember she was an artist of her,
Yes.
in her own right. She had pictures at the library.
Yes.
Yes.
That's another space that we exhibit is at the Peters Library. So if
Right.
you come in there, you'll be, like you mentioned earlier, you'll be able to see some original art, and you can buy it. We have 2 shows a year at the Galleria, a spring show and a fall show. The spring show is juried, meaning everybody gets in, but there are awards. So juried, we have a juror of awards, not a juror of acceptance. So everybody
Good.
gets to exhibit, but you know, we actually are able to hand out awards. We also exhibit at St. Clair Hospital, thanks to Betty. She's arranged a couple of ones there. We exhibit at a lovely little new restaurant in McDonald, PA called Bacon Jam, and they have delicious bacon jam, but they're a breakfast lunch place. So please, you know, patronize them.
And also in Canonsburg.
In Canonsburg at ARC, we helped them when they first were going to start that up and have the exhibit space down there. We were the first couple of groups to exhibit there.
Good. So,
Oh, can I talk about the book club?
real quick.
Okay,
have
we
a few minutes.
started a book club too, and we read a book a month and meet and talk about it, usually about art or an art movement or an artist. So,
Wonderful.
yes.
Wonderful. So viewers, you have an opportunity coming at the end of July, first couple days in August, to experience art at the farm. And if you can't get to that, or before you get to that, please think about looking up McMurray Art League. Try to get involved with them to get your creative juices flowing. Thank you for being here. We're going to wrap up. Remember, go to the McMurray Art League website to try to go ahead and sign up, see a little bit more details. The Art at the Farm event sounds marvelous. Thank you for tuning in. Remember what they say about art Earth without art is just
Yes.
We're going to finish up with a slideshow of some of the prior paintings and pictures about Gilfillan Farms. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you coming, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.